Yo, hello there. What's up, guys? How are you guys doing? In the last video, I discussed about how Twitter is going to enable monetization for content creators. And I also discussed how it is planning to bring back Vine, which is like the pre-industrial version of TikTok, and how it's going to provide incentives to content creators and is going to challenge platforms like YouTube and TikTok. But in today's video, I'm not really going to be discussing the conflict related to content creation and content curation in general, but I'm going to talk about what people dub as the new gold rush. So you see, guys, the crux of wealth has always been at the hand of the top 1% throughout history. The wealth has always been with them, no matter what went through. Even after the communist revolution, the same thing happened. Like the wealth went to the elite anyways. But the top 1%, who they were, has actually varied throughout history. During the times of kings and empires, it might have been the sultans, the emperors, or the kings and the clergy, the royal families. And then after the Industrial Revolution, wealth has begun moving to the hands of industrialists that exploited natural resources. Two notable names that come to our mind when we say industrialists that exploited natural resources are John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. They were basically the owners of wealth at the beginning of the century. They were the richest people in the world. They were the epitome of wealth, and they were the symbol of industrialism. And that's how it went. That's how the beginning of 21st and 20th century was. But when you go to the middle of 20th century, you notice that wealth began moving to the automobile industry with the coming of companies like Honda, Toyota, and so on. And when you look at the end of the 20th century, wealth began moving to the tech industry, as we call it, after the computer revolution. So what happened is people like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and so on, they innovated in the tech industry and made it more accessible for normal people, plebs like us, I say. And eventually, this has revolutionized many industries, and many jobs went extinct as well. So, at the beginning of the past century, wealth was at the hand of industrialists that exploited natural resources. Then, wealth went over to industrialists that used the resources to create something new. And then, by the end of the century, it wasn't really much about industrialists, and it was more about yeah, computers, computing, algorithmic, and all that nerdy rubbish. Even today, it's like the oil merchants, the automobile industry, and the tech giants that are at the top of the world in terms of wealth and fame, or at least what we recognize as self-earned wealth. But what I'm going to say is today there might be a new gold rush going on, and as the saying goes, you can mine for gold, or you can sell pickaxes. But you can ask me, Captain, what's the pickaxe for today? Seemingly, there might be many and not just one to answer this question. There's a new form of economics emerging today, and it's not just today, it has been going on for the past few years. Everybody recognizes it as e-commerce, like, companies like Amazon, Alibaba, AliExpress, Shopify, and as well as Fiverr. These are basically trying to promote commodities and purchase of commodities through the internet. This is what the oil of today is. As I said earlier, you can mine for gold or you can sell the pickaxes. During the early 19th century, there was a gold rush in California. People from all over the United States went to California in order to mine the gold. But the people that truly became successful and rich were the ones that began selling pickaxes and shovels to the gold miners. In this world of e-commerce, the oil is attention. I mean, the pickaxe is attention. You can't really make any sort of sales or anything like that without attention. Attention has always been the catalyst for business, but today the amount of work and effort put into attention seeking is just absurd. This is the real pickaxe everyone seems to have ignored in the gold rush and seeking attention. Many times, people tend to be masters at gathering attention, but they don't really exploit this for any sort of businesses. But that's beginning to change in the past few years. Facilitating the seeking of attention is another pickaxe, which is basically a pickaxe for a pickaxe. It's like you're in a gold rush within the gold rush. That's where marketing comes in, or like promoting If you take a look at content creation platforms like TikTok, they have started a new form of content. People's attentions are extremely low, so people are creating these short and often very inaccurate but appealing content. You will often notice content that promotes and removes the sophistication of tasks like Amazon FBA or dropshipping or selling merches online. This is how they are often aiding massive companies like Amazon or Shopify or even Teespring. I created a merch store in Teespring and I made like around $50 to $70 from it, and that's where it ended. Attention seeking is the new wall. It is the next gold rush. The richest people in the world in the future is going to be those that are great at capturing attention, because it is essential to be able to capture attention of people, since the days of for long forms of content is almost over, I guess, and short forms of content are taking over, with Instagram having reels, with TikTok having their own stuff going on, and with YouTube taking shorts, and even pseudonymous platforms like Reddit taking inspiration from the video format as well.
Ew, you must be from Reddit. Ugh, I can smell you from here.
And with Twitter planning to bring back Vine under the commands of Elon Musk. So everybody is competing on the low level of attention span, just for the sake of having a successful business in order to gain monetary success for their platforms. So, guys, what I'm saying is essentially that in this day, the new gold or the new oil or the new value or whatever in society, it isn't really oil anymore. It isn't really automobile industry anymore. I mean, sure, you could make a lot of money from that, but yeah, the competition is extremely stiff, and you would have a lot of prerequisites monetarily and in terms of experience as well as manpower if you want to make any sort of meaningful changes in those fields, or if you want to try to compete with the giants. If you want to compete with the oil industry, you have one choice, that is you find an alternative source of energy, but you can't really combat or compete with them within the oil industry in general, because the resources are either completely monopolized or they're nationalized. Then you have the automobile industry. The automobile industry has went through a lot of evolution and a lot of progress in the past century. If you take a look of biographies of many of these companies like Lamborghini or Honda, you'll notice that the founders were extremely passionate about what they did. Both of them were mechanic freaks. They were extremely engulfed in mechanics and building cars and machinery. Even then, they had to go through a lot of struggles to make their companies succeed. Ferruccio Lamborghini, he had to put a lot of struggle into it, but even then, at the end, he had to sell his stock. He had to go back to his route of farming. And for Honda, he turned his company into a meritocracy, so his sons or his children weren't really allowed to inherit the company. And then you have the tech industry. The tech industry is a massive behemoth. If you want to compete, you will have to come up with something extremely revolutionary. A decade or two ago, the bar wouldn't really have been that low, which caused the dot-com bubble. And yeah, but right now the bar is extremely high, the competition is extremely high, and if you want to really compete with them, you'll need to have a lot of passive income sources. The best chance I think you guys might have of competing with the tech industry today is, starting some SaaS or SaaS programs or whatever, which is basically like, providing subscription-based services. You have websites like AI Images or Render Forest, which is useful for video editors and content creators like me. You also have SaaS services that provide storage, then Amazon Cloud, then Microsoft Cloud. But I think that's the best chance you guys have. But if you want an extremely low entry bar into the newly emerging industry, yeah, a lot of billionaires are estimating that mrbeast, who is I think by now the most subscribed individual YouTuber, is going to become a billionaire soon, and a lot of people are following mrbeast's suit. But what I'm going to say is, like, Mr. Beast, he's famous today because of extreme competition. MrBeast actually became famous because he used to do extreme stuff to get attention. Like there's this one video of his where he doesn't really have any facial hair. He appears extremely young, and he says Logan Paul 1,000 times. No, 100,000 times straight without any rest. Haven't really watched the whole video, but that's essentially the claim. And then that's how Mr. Beast became really rich. He gives away his money. He invests heavily into philanthropy, and then he does a lot of collaboration with YouTubers. YouTube is in his DNA, bro. A lot of other YouTubers are copying the same exact formula, being very obnoxious, very loud about like, oh, I heard their app made these 100,000 Orbeez ball in a pool or something, and then also this absurd or irrational level of generosity in order to make a claim to fame. But evidently enough, they aren't really doing successful because they are inevitably going to be seen as rip-offs. I think this number game is going to be the reason why content creation is going to be the next oil. For instance, people are going to try to do experiments that push things to the absolute limit by using their skills instead of money to gain attention and views. And this is going to push technology to newer levels, or like philanthropy to the next levels. Marketing is going to completely change. It's going to be content creation. You have a lot of business people like Alex Hormozi, who is my inspiration and who actually got me into making YouTube videos along with Ali Abdal. Alex Hormozi, he actually became rich before he made his YouTube channel, and his claim to fame is essentially, I don't really sell anything. I'm Alex Hormozi, and I make $100 million through acquisition.com and all that. So what he's doing is for absolutely free, and he even has a book which sells at an extremely low price, which shows that he's not really interested in making money. But there is this passive advertisement of his website, which is acquisition.com. He basically scales companies that are worth $10 million to $100 million. So, guys, what I'm saying is if you really want to get rich, you have to acquire some extra skills, and you guys have to try to get attention by testing your skills to the limits, going to the next level, using looping print hello world 100,000 times on Python, or console logging something 100,000 times, I don't know. And then, like, trying to do those through multiple machines in general, and like, you scale the experiments up in order to gain attention, and then you try to, like, get into the next level of ingenuity and try next levels of experiments and do collaboration with people that are already famous in your niche. I think I've discussed enough, guys. This might be the longest video I've made thus far. The conclusion is that the oil industry is already oversaturated. The automobile industry, or like, using natural resources for machinery, that industry is overly saturated as well. The tech industry, which is also overly saturated but still provides a lot of facilities and benefits that could enable you to expand in other ventures. But if you guys are wanting to be the next billionaires, you can get into the tech industry, but use content creation as a catalyst, because this is seemingly the next oil everybody is getting into, and it is an extremely important thing to get other people's attention in a world where attention span is less than 15 seconds. I think our attention span is going to get worse than goldfish. That's it again. See you guys in the next video.